Welcome into NFL Daily. I am your host, Tom Downey, and on today's video, we are talking trades, specifically around one David Njoku. He has requested a trade out of Cleveland, and that request, by the way, comes about 2 days after he hired Drew Rosenhaus as his new agent. That is not an accident whatsoever in terms of the timing. Now, Njoku might want to trade. The Browns, however, are inclined to keep him, and understandably so, despite the injury-prone and not great 2019 in which Njoku was in the doghouse, and despite adding Austin Hooper, the Browns want to keep him. A, because he showed tantalizing promise in 2018, and on top of that, this is likely going to be a Browns offense that features plenty of two tight end sets. That means Austin Hooper and also David Njoku, unless they think Harrison Bryant, a fourth-round rookie, is ready to go. The report out of Cleveland was that the Browns wanted a first-round pick, which I view as a, yeah, we don't want to trade him type of asking price. But in terms of his actual value, it's probably a little bit more around a day 3 pick. I'll get your guys' thoughts on that in a little bit. But first, I just want to know, should the Browns trade him? Y for yes or N for no? He's still young, has this year and his 5th-year option next year left on his contract. The upside remains, but the production has never quite matched. So cast your votes for me down in the comment section. Y for yes, N for no. And then we're going to break down the top 7 potential trade destinations. We'll begin with number 7, the Dallas Cowboys. One of the teams publicly linked, kind of, to David Njoku. Comes to us from Mary Kay Cabot, one of the Browns beat writers out of Cleveland, who says she was hearing the Cowboys are one team that might have some interest in Njoku. I'll let you guys in on a secret as to what happened here. The agent leaked the Cowboys to get interest going in his client. It's a fairly classic play, and although the Cowboys might have some semblance of interest, it wouldn't be to make Njoku the starter. That's going to be Blake Jarwin for this Cowboys team. With Jason Witten now gone, it is perfectly within reason to expect double that production across the board. Targets, receptions, yards, maybe even touchdowns with Witten gone, and the Cowboys paid Blake Jarwin like a starting tight end. Now, the depth is not great. That's why Njoku makes sense, but the Cowboys probably want to use more 11 personnel. That's 3 receivers, 1 tight end, 1 back. So you don't really want to add a second tight end in that scenario. Now, if Jarwin gets hurt, the Cowboys vault to, frankly, probably the front of the line. Depth's a factor, but I don't think Dallas is going to be willing to meet the alleged asking price, not that anyone would, or even the more general value for David Njoku. So everyone in the comments, I want you guys to predict this for me. Where will Njoku play in 2020? Cleveland Browns, very much an acceptable answer here. In fact, they still might be the betting favorite. Think it's someone else? Feel free to chime off in the comments section. Let's go to number 6 here, the Arizona Cardinals on our top David Njoku trade destinations. The Cardinals don't have a ton of proven talent at the tight end spot, but they got some fun pieces on offense. Is Max Williams the guy? Probably not. Maybe it's Dan Arnold. Maybe it's Daryl Daniels. I don't think it's Dylan Cantrell. The biggest question mark for me when it comes to Arizona and the fit for David Njoku, athletically, obviously fits what Cliff Kingsbury wants to do. But does he want to heavily feature a tight end? Would he rather run a bunch of multiple wide receiver sets, go with 4 receiver looks and a running back? If so, maybe Njoku doesn't make the most sense. If they want to add a starting caliber tight end, though, at maybe a day 3 pick, Arizona certainly makes plenty of sense. This, of course, all assumes a season happens, and I am desperately hoping and still believing that there will be one. In order to make that happen, though, we need people to stay safe. So if you don't have a face mask, go get one, and you should probably have multiple as well, especially if you're trying to actually go to NFL games this year. Head over to chatsports.com/stay safe. They've got a variety of different packs available from individual down to 4 packs there with a ton of different styles as well. All of them available for all 32 NFL teams. That is available at chatsports.com/stay safe. I'll get that link in the comments and in the description for you guys. Let's go to Houston now because, well, they love making trades, especially with the Cleveland Browns, right? That's classic Bill O'Brien. Now, they have spent several recent picks, especially kind of early-ish picks, on the tight end spot. They took Jordan Thomas in round 6, Jordan Akins in round 3, both in 2018. They drafted Kalali Waring in the 3rd round of 2019. They haven't done a lot. Darren Fells is good enough. Is he great? No. Is he serviceable? Yes. So maybe Houston would want to gamble on, well, not having very many future draft picks, giving away another one to add a tight end who would give another dynamic athletic weapon to Deshaun Watson. It makes sense from that perspective. The lack of draft capital available for Houston does make things a little bit trickier, but I've learned one thing the past year in the NFL. You can never discount Bill O'Brien when it comes to any type of trade. Now, in terms of the value here for David Njoku, again, the Browns asking for a first. There's no chance in hell that they end up getting that. I think the value is more of a 4th or a 5th round pick, somewhere in that range. So if we're valuing it based on draft picks, that's easier to do. I want you guys to let me know what you think Njoku is worth in a trade. What draft pick would you be willing to trade to acquire him? Number 4, the Carolina Panthers. Greg Olsen, after a borderline Hall of Fame career, is now out. He's now with the Seattle Seahawks, which leaves Ian Thomas as the de facto starter for the Carolina Panthers because, as producer Brett asked me before the show, who are these other players on the roster? I will forgive all of you if you don't know who Tamara Hemingway and Chris Manhertz are. Those guys are not household names. Ian Thomas, though, was a 4th round pick, in 2018. Hasn't done much in his NFL career. He's battled some injuries, has been stuck behind Olsen, of course. So comparing the two, I think it's pretty clearly Njoku is the better option, but everyone knew Ian Thomas was a developmental guy in that 2018 draft, and it was going to take time for him to develop. So do the Panthers believe that Thomas is ready to start? If the answer is yes, then you don't trade for him. If you're not sure, maybe it's worth sending a 4th or a 5th round pick and at least letting those two guys compete for a starting role. Now, if you had to pick one, who would it be? Type D for David Njoku, I for Ian Thomas. Based only on what we've seen and ignoring the sunken cost fallacy for the Panthers drafting Ian Thomas, I'm going to type in my D, go with David Njoku. Number 3, this is my sleeper dark horse destination, the Indianapolis Colts. Now, they've used 2 tight ends effectively before and with some good success. Eric Ebron, though, is gone. He's left, and Trey Burton comes in. Ask Bears fans how they feel about Trey Burton. Jack Doyle remains a very, very good starting caliber tight end. And yes, Colts fans, I know you are excited about the promise of Mo Alley-Cox. I still want to see it over a little bit longer time frame than just a handful of splashes here or there. So maybe what you could do is if you do want to use 2 tight end sets and Trey Burton just isn't that good, maybe you go out and get Njoku. It gives you another athletic player to fit in that Eric Ebron mold. For the Colts, not the biggest need, but I think it might make some sense for a win-now team trying to surround Phillip Rivers with more dynamic options. Now, we don't just do trade destinations here at Chat Sports. We do breaking news like that Patrick Mahomes extension we were live for on Monday. We do all kinds of rumors. We do live Q&As, everything you could want around the NFL. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe today. The Green Bay Packers check in at number 2 on my list. Now, they did draft Jay Sternberger last year. Jimmy Graham is, I think, for Packers fans, thankfully gone because he's not that great. Mercedes Lewis, then, I guess, is the de facto starter as the veteran, given that Sternberger really barely played last year. Robert Tonyan he's not anything special. If you are worried about the age for Mercedes Lewis and or you're worried about Sternberger being a long-term piece, I think it's reasonable to have some doubts here and have some question marks about this tight end spot, especially with Josiah DeGuara kind of being a tight end, probably going to play some fullback as well, so I didn't include him on that tight end list. The biggest concern, I think, for Green Bay is if you're going to use more of a play-action, run-focused offense, does Njoku block well enough to fit that mold? I think it's a fair question, but if you're worried about Sternberger or you want more beyond just him and H-back, fullback, tight end hybrid Josiah DeGuara, maybe you explore David Njoku. Plus, give Aaron Rodgers some players who can catch the football, please, I beg of you. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, by the way, his jersey's on sale. Chatsports.com/jersey deal. Up to 30% off a ton of NFL jerseys. And oh, by the way, that link Also has rookie jerseys available, like CeeDee Lamb. Tua is available as well. So head over to chatsports.com/jersey deal. I'll put that link in the comments and in the description. And Redskins fans, by the way, the jerseys are still there. Who knows how much longer that will actually end up being available. Could end up being a nice collector's item for you. Speaking of the Redskins, or I should say soon-to-be former Redskins, they check in at maybe soon-to-be former Redskins. They check in at number 1. Washington has the worst tight end room in the NFL by a significant margin. A Njoku trade to Washington is by far the best thing for the player because Jeremy Sprinkle, he's good. Richard Rodgers, Logan Thomas was a quarterback draft pick, now plays tight end. Thaddeus Moss was undrafted. Hale Hentges was undrafted out of Alabama. If you don't know who those players are, that's okay. I don't expect people outside of Washington or outside of like Detroit where Thomas played to know who they are. A trade for Njoku would be perfect for Washington. It gets Haskins an athletic seam stretcher at tight end, gives him another playmaker, another option. I think it's a perfect fit for Washington and for Njoku. And if a trade does happen, this should be the destination for David Njoku.